Nande, Gloris Samlagotis, all Gloris Samlagotis, all Gloris Samlagotis, all Gloris Shishi Guru Ram, all Gloris Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayavidiraye nashta prayeshva padreshu nityam bhagavatam sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtikir. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, text, chapter 12, text 9. Speak in English or in Deutsch? Hm?
9 und 10.
Haben wir 10 hier, ne?
9 und 10.
Ja, okay. Aber auf dem Board habt ihr welche? Tvam Brahma Kichit.
Naham Parayo. Naham Parayo Vishayo.
Okay, das ist 10 auf dem Board, so ich lese 9 zuerst. Tvam Brahma Kechit Avayantu Tadharma Eke Param Sat Asato Purusham Paresham Anye Vayanti Navashakti Yutam Param Tvam Kechin Mahapurusham Avayam Atmatantram. So that's text 9. I just got the translation, there is no purport. Translation. Those who are known as the impersonalist Vedantists regard you as the impersonal Brahman. Others, known as the Mimamsaka philosophers, regard you as religion. The Sankhya philosophers regard you as the transcendental person who is beyond Prakriti and Purusha, and who is the controller of even the demigods. The followers of the codes of devotional service, known as the Pancharatras, regard you as a being endowed with 9 different potencies. And the Patanjali philosophers, the followers of Patanjali Muni, regard you as a supreme, independent personality of Godhead who has no equal or superior. So that's text 9. And of course, we are here in this pastime. Lord Shiva wanted to know the form of Mohini Murti, and now he's approaching the Lord with this request, and Lord Shiva is offering different prayers to Krishna, and this is one of the prayers, text 9, where Lord Shiva describes how different spiritualists have a different way to see the Lord. Right? So we have the impersonal Vedantist, basically the Mayavadis, or Brahmavadis maybe also, who see the Lord as impersonal Brahman. Then Mimamsaka philosophers, they regard you as religion. Who are the Mimamsaka philosophers? What do they believe?
Karma.
Karma, yes.
The word karma.
Who spoke this philosophy also? Krishna spoke it, no? In the pastime of Govardhan pastime, no? When Nanda Baba started to arrange all the puja paraphernalia for Lord Indra, then Krishna started to speak this Mimamsaka philosophy, saying that, why should we worship this Indra, these demigods? We just have to follow dharma. We have to be religious, and then when we are religious, then by our good karma, naturally there will be nice, harvest, and everything will be good. There will be rain because we are pious people. No need to separately worship anyone. Just by being pious, everything will come according to karma. That's basically, it's one of the Vedic philosophies, but basically it's kind of not really theistic. It's kind of puts God out of the picture, just being pious, and the whole universe is like a mechanic, ritualistic thing you just have to follow, and then karma will be there, good karma. So they see the Lord just as dharma. Then the Sankhya philosophers, they regard him as a transcendental person beyond Prakriti and Purusha. And of course, Sankhya philosophy is basically analyzing matter and spirit, and analyzing the material nature. So in Swami Bhagavan, Keshav Maharaj gives an interesting example in his book Bhagavat. He has these infographics, and then he shows. So what is Sankhya philosophy? Sankhya philosophy is basically understanding different elements, 24 elements, or different ways to count it. And then Maharaj gives a point, just like if you want to bake a muffin, what do you require to make a muffin? A recipe, yes, and then there are ingredients also. And so you have some flour, and you have some milk or water, and some eggs, or no eggs if you're a devotee. You have something else, and of course maybe some fruits or some chocolate, or garob, whatever you use. And then if you take all these ingredients, then that can give you a muffin. So similarly, Sankhya philosophy basically means you analyze the ingredients of the material world. No, you analyze what are the ingredients that make this world. And by analyzing the ingredients, you understand actually there is a difference between Purusha and Prakriti. There is Prakriti, but life is always a combination between Prakriti and Purusha. And Purusha is Prakriti basically is not alive, but then if the soul and the super soul enters into Prakriti, life starts to be there. So they understand that there is a transcendental person beyond. And then the Pancharatras. Who are the Pancharatras? Actually, we are Pancharatras also. I look at the altar so much. This is all going on according to Pancharatrika Vidhi, according to the rules and regulations given by Narada Muni on temple rituals and deity worship. And they see the Lord as a being with 9 different potencies. What are the 9 different potencies? There's sometimes different descriptions, but basically it describes 9 Shaktis. So that's Shri, the goddess of fortune. She's not well known, right? We know Lakshmi Devi, Shri. But then there is also Bhu, the earth. There is Nila, or sometimes also said Durga. Then there is Jnana Shakti, knowledge, Kriya Shakti, action or creative energy. There is Ahimsa Shakti, that's like purity. And then Bala Shakti, strength, Virya Shakti, heroism, potency, and Teja Shakti, spiritual brilliance. So there can be slight differences in the, but these are 9 Shaktis. Basically, it means that the Lord is not alone, but he has many Shaktis. And these are some of these Shaktis. That's the vision of the Pancharatras. And then the Patanjali, of course, is Patanjali from the Yoga Sutras. But interestingly also, Patanjali also has a theistic understanding of God. And there is there's yamas and niyamas, things you should do and should not do. And then one of the points is Ishvara Pranidhan. And basically it means that dedicating every breath, pran, every action one should dedicate to the Lord. One should surrender unto the Lord, which is part of the yoga practice, basically. Ishvara Pranidhan. So Patanjali sees the Lord also as an absolute personality. So it's an interesting prayer by Shiva, describing different people see the Lord in different ways. And of course, it reminds us of which pastime different people see the Lord differently. Yes, when Lord Krishna enters the arena in Mathura, all right? This is in the 10th canto, we find this 10th canto, chapter 43, text 17. Let me see here. Malanam ashanirnrinam naravara strinam smaro murtimam Gopanam svajano satam kshit pujam Shashtvasva pitro shishu mrityur boja patir vrita avadisum Tattvam param yoginam Vrishnim paradeveti vidito rangam katta sangragaraja. Then there says, the various groups of people in the arena regarded Krishna in different ways when he entered it with his elder brother. The wrestlers saw Krishna as a lightning bolt, the man of Mathura as the best of males, the women as Cupid in person, the coward man as the relative, the empire's ruler as the chastiser, his parents as the child, the king of the Bhojas, which is Kamsa, saw him as death personified, the unintelligent as the Supreme Lord's universal form, the yogis as the absolute truth, and the Vrishnis as the supreme worshipable deity. So, in this way, according to the consciousness of people, although it's the same Krishna Balaram entering the arena, but different people saw him from with a different perspective according to their consciousness. So, similarly, Lord Shiva is offering prayers, the different philosophers have a different understanding. Okay, so these are a few thoughts on text 9, but Prabhupada did not give a purport, so we continue to text 10, where the prayers are continuing, and this is the shloka we have here on the board. Right, Naham Parayu, yeah? Okay. Okay, let me see. Naham Parayu. Naham Parayur Rishayo Namarchit. No, maybe Ramasamita. Naham Parayur Rishayo Namarachi Mukya. Jananti Yad Virachitam Kalu Sattva Sarga. Yanmaya Yamushita Chetasa Ishadhaitya. Martyadaya Kimuta Shashvat Abhadra Vritta. Naham Parayur Rishayo Namarichi Mukya. Ya Jananti Yad Virachitam Kalu Sattva Sarga. Yanmaya Yamushita Chetasa Ishadhaitya. Martyadaya Kimuta Shashvat Abhadra Vritta. Naham Parayo Rishayo Namarichi Mukya. Jananti Yad Virachitam Kalu Sattva Sarga. Yanmaya Yamushita Chetasa Ishadaitya. Martyadaya Kimuta Shashvata Baldavita. Naham Parayo Rishayo Namarichi Mukya. Jananti Yad Virachitam Kalu Sattva Sarga. Yanmaya Yamusita Chetasa Ishadaitya. Martyadaya Kimuta Shashvata Bhadravita. Vishnuvis.
Naham paraya rishayo namarichi mukya.
Naham paraya vishayo namarichi mukya.
Jananti yat virachitam karusattva sarga.
Jananti yat virachitam karu sattva sarga.
Yanmaya mushita cheta saisha decha.
Yanmaya mushita cheta saisha dhaitya.
Madhyadaya kimuta shashvata pavavrita.
Martyadaya kimuta shashvata padavrita. Naham paraya rishayo namarichi mukya. Jananti yat virachitam karu sattva sarga. Yanmaya yamushita cheta saisha daitya. Madhyadaya kimuta shashvata padavrita. Na, neither. Aham, I, para ayu, that personality who lives for millions and millions of years. Rishaya, the seven rishis of the seven planets. Na, nor, Marichi Mukya, headed by Marichi Rishi. Jananti, no, Yat, by whom the Supreme Lord. Virachitam, this universe which has been created. Kalu, indeed. Sattva Sargaha, although born in the modes of material goodness. Yatmayaya, by the influence of whose energy? Mushita Jetasaha, their hearts are bewildered. Isha, O my Lord, Daitya, the demons, Martya Arhaya, the human beings and others. Kim Uta, what to speak of? Shashvat, always. Abhadra Vrittaha, influenced by the base qualities of material nature. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my Lord, I, who am considered to be the best of the demigods, and Lord Brahma, and the great rishis headed by Marichi, are born of the mode of goodness. Nonetheless, we are bewildered by your illusory energy and cannot understand what this creation is. Aside from us, what is to be said of others, like the demons and human beings who are in the base modes of material nature, Rajaguna and Tamaguna? How will they know you? Purport. Factually speaking, even those who are situated in a material mode of goodness cannot understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then is to be said of those who are situated in Rajaguna and Tamaguna, the base qualities of material nature? How can we even imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead? There are so many philosophers trying to understand the absolute truth, but since they are situated in the base qualities of material nature and are addicted to so many bad habits like drinking, meat eating, illicit sex, and gambling, how can they conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? For them, it is impossible. For the present day, the Pancharatrika Vidhi, as enunciated by Narada Muni, is the only hope. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore has quoted the following verse from the Brahma Yamala. Shruti smriti puranadi pancharatra vidim vina aikintika harir bhaktir utpadaya kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:201. Those who are very advanced in knowledge and are situated in a mode of goodness follow the Vedic instructions of the Shruti and Smriti and other religious scriptures, including the Pancharatrika Vidhi. Without understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this way, one only creates a disturbance. In this age of Kali, so many gurus have sprung up, and because they do not refer to Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatri Vidhi, they are creating a great disturbance in the world in regard to understanding the absolute truth. However, those who follow Pancharatri Vidhi under the guidance of a proper spiritual master can understand the absolute truth. It is said, Pancharatnasya Kritnasya Vaktu Tu Bhagavan Swayam. The Pancharatriya system is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like Bhagavad Gita. Vasudeva Sharan Vidur Angyasaiva. The truth can be understood only by one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudev. Bahunam Jamanam Ante Jnanamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Saram Sarvam Iti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. After many, many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Only those who have surrendered to the lotus feet of Vasudeva can understand the absolute truth. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayochitaha Jnanajata Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahittukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Bhagavatam 1:2-7. Therefore, Vasudeva, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, personally teaches in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. 1866. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanas jasmitattvaha. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. The Prabhupada gives a whole lecture in that one purport. And then he completes with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not properly understood even by Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, or to speak of others, but he can be understood by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Maya Shakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjan Mad Ashraya Asam Shayam Samagramam Yatha Genashyasi Tachrinu. If one practices Bhakti Yoga by taking shelter of Vasudeva Krishna, simply by hearing Vasudeva speak about himself, one can understand everything about him. Indeed, one can understand him completely. Samagram. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Nanjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Bhistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpataru Yascha Kripa Sindhu Vya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a very interesting prayer by Lord Shiva. Basically, Lord Shiva says that although I am considered to be the greatest of all the devas, and Lord Brahma certainly also as the first living entity, and although we are born in the modes of goodness, we cannot understand you, and even the great sages can also not understand you. So if we, who are in goodness, cannot understand you, what to speak of the demons and the human beings who are in Raja and Tama? How can they ever understand? So basically the message is, nobody can understand you. And then what is Prabhupada doing in the purport? He says, yes, nobody can understand, but if you are surrendering to Krishna with devotional service, if Krishna reveals himself to you, then you can understand. And so that's beautiful, beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. Step by step establishing that yes, Krishna cannot be understood, but he can be understood also. And it's interesting because Krishna is and that sometimes people argue like, God cannot be understood. That's why we don't speak about God, or that's why we don't have an image of God. Right? God is the unknown. God is light. And he cannot be understood. And in one way, we agree. One name of Krishna is Adokshaja, which means the one personality which is beyond the material senses. We cannot, with our senses, we cannot perceive the Lord. We cannot see him, we cannot touch him, we cannot hear him. Beyond sense perception. So, okay, God cannot be understood. But God or Krishna is the absolute truth. And what does absolute truth mean? It means it's complete. It includes everything. And if Krishna or the absolute truth includes everything, it must also include the aspect of the ability to know him. Like otherwise, he's not absolute. So although Krishna is not, it's not possible to understand him. If Krishna wants, he can reveal himself to his devotees, and then he becomes understandable by the mercy of the Lord. And of course, in order to achieve that, the process is bhakti. So we try to unpack this topic a little bit. So let's start with the point that Krishna cannot be understood, even if someone is in Sattva Guna. And this is also confirmed in the first shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadi Yasya Tonvayati Taratas Chartishvabhikya Swara Tema Brahma Hidaya Adi Kavahe Muyanti Yatsurayo Tejo Varimridam Yata Vinimaya Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Tamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuakam Satyam Param Dhimai. So this is the first text in the Bhagavatam. Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate about that personality. Which personality? Supreme personality of Godhead. And then there is different characteristic given of that personality. And one aspect is Muhyanti Yad Suraya. That's basically the same thing that is mentioned in this text. Muhyanti are illusioned. Who are illusioned? The Suraya, the great sages and demigods. So even and it's described here. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. That personality I meditate. That personality who is so great that even the great demigods and sages cannot understand, and they are put in illusion by him. That personality I meditate upon. So, and in one way it's interesting because we understand that there are these three gunas, and in the material world, everyone is influenced by the gunas, right? From up from Brahma down to the little ant, everyone is influenced by the three gunas, and we learn that we should cultivate sattva guna, because as long as we are in Raja and Tama, we are really in a difficult situation. But the more we develop sattva, the more we are able to understand the Lord. That's why in the 14th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, which all the sages, knowing, have attained the supreme perfection. And Krishna is glorifying the knowledge. What knowledge? The knowledge about the gunas. So just to understand how the gunas actually work, just by understanding this, one can attain perfection. One can attain liberation. And in some way, I don't know how you felt about, but when I first read Bhagavad Gita, one thing that really stuck with me was these gunas. Why? because it's very practical. No, we say that we should understand the world through Shastra Chakshu. We should try to learn to see the world through the eyes of scriptures. And the concept of gunas is really something we can see. Like if you walk through a city on the streets, you see some bump, some beggar on the street with alcohol. Oh yeah, there's tamaguna at work. Then you see some playboy guy and maybe some girls in the mini skirt and flirting. So now, look at them. They're very, passion. Rajaguna is very prominent. And then you see, I don't know, some pious people helping an old lady over the street, walking over the street or so. A sattva guna, nice, pious person. So this is something we can see. And also we can see it, music is influenced, heavy metal music, tamaguna, destruction. Techno music or rock and roll, something like passion. And classic music, sattva guna. In the animal kingdom, we can see it like a swan on a pure lake, sattva. Then I don't know, tiger or so, passion. And then a bear who is sleeping all the time, tamaguna. So we can see the gunas acting. And of course, Krishna explains that the result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness. But action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. From the modes of goodness, real knowledge develops. From passion, greed develops. From ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develops. So there's clear, and if you are in the mode of goodness, gradually go upward. If you're in the passion, you remain on the earthly planets. And if you are in ignorance, you go down to hellish regions. So this science of gunas is very scientifically and it's important to understand. But what is said here, that even if you are in goodness, it's not good enough. You're still will not be able to understand Krishna, even if you're in goodness. And one analogy which is given, like imagine you are at the beach, right? So when you are at the beach, basically you have different situations. You have the land, right? Then you have the beach where the land and the water, they meet each other. And then you can walk a little further, then you're in the ocean, but you still can stand. And then you can swim out into the water in the ocean. So it's described that tamaguna is like way out in the ocean. That's compared to tamaguna. And rajaguna is a little closer to the beach. And then sattva guna means standing in the water at the beach. And the land means the transcendental realm. So this analogy shows that sattva guna is very important because sattva guna actually is the platform which brings us to the spiritual platform. Like sattva guna, you're almost there if you're really cultivating good sattva guna. You're not anymore kind of out in the water, but you're already standing, you're close by. But you're not yet on the land, you're still in the water. But even that sattva guna is not good enough. So then what is required? We have to transcend these gunas. And how do we do that? How do we transcend the gunas? Yes. By chanting, surrendering, bhakti yoga. Mamcha yoga bhijarena bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samatityaityan brahman bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Krishna explains at the end of the 14th chapter. Mamcha yoga bhijarena bhakti yogena sevate. By engaging in bhakti yoga, that engagement in bhakti yoga will actually help us to come out of the gunas on the transcendental platform. So that's one aspect which is expressed in this text and purport. Then, and of course, as we said, only through Bhakti Yoga we can ultimately understand Krishna. But then also, in order to understand Krishna, what do we need to do? We have to accept the spiritual master, and who teaches us how to practice Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada speaks about the many false gurus in Kali Yuga. And what do? They neglect the Pancharatrika Vidhi. They neglect the Shastras. And as Rupa Goswami says, if someone neglects Shastra and tries to practice Bhakti, he's only a disturbance in society. And as Prabhupada says, nowadays there's many so-called gurus, they start to teach, but not based on Shastra. No, I mean, without mentioning any names, but you have these YouTube stars, these gurus, and then they're openly saying, I never read any Veda, I never read any scriptures. They openly say like that. It's all self-managed knowledge. And I know everything. And even if God appears in front of me, I don't follow him because I know better. They say like that, like, I mean, what kind of guru? Not reading Shastra, not following Shastra, and even not accepting the teachings of God himself. And then they're claiming to be guru and having millions of followers. That's what Prabhupada talking about. Actually, they are just creating a disturbance in society by giving some half-truths, some concocted knowledge. But the true guru always follows in the footsteps of his own guru, and the Shastra, and only repeats what he has heard. Yesterday I was listening to a lecture by Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was kind of saying, the other day one fellow, like one of the hippies, came into the lecture and said, I'm God. Imagine, in front of Prabhupada, and someone tells, I'm God, I'm God. And Prabhupada challenged him and said, so what is God meaning? What is God? What is the meaning of God? You check in the dictionary. And then when you look at the dictionary definition of God, it means he's the supreme being. And then, so are you the supreme being? And the guy was kind of speechless, didn't say anything. So what does supreme being mean? Supreme actually means the highest controller, Ishvara, basically. Are you the supreme controller? The guy was still like speechless. And the Prabhupada says, why are you claiming to be God? If you're not a supreme being, if you're not the supreme controller, what kind of God are you? And the Prabhupada was making this point. So many so-called gurus who tell that they are God, and just by giving some dollars for their mantra, you can also become God. And then they have to go to the hospital for operation. So what kind of God is that? That can't help himself, needs some medical treatment. What kind of God? So Prabhupada was very heavy on this, that there's many false guru in the age of Kali. Lord Shiva, there's a shloka, I don't have it here, but there's one shloka where Lord Shiva speaks to Parvati, and he says, in the age of Kali, there is many gurus who are very expert in taking away the disciples' money. Very expert in taking away the disciples' money. But there's only very few gurus who are expert in taking away the misery of the disciple. Taking away the money is very easy, many can do that. But taking away the misery, taking away the problems and difficulties from the heart of the disciple, only very few are able to do that. So true gurus are actually very rare, and there's many so-called gurus in society. But a true guru is one who engages us in the service of the Lord, one who is teaching us how to serve the Lord. That's actually the job of the guru. The guru, the duty of the guru is help us to attain a transformation of the heart. Basically, that our vision changes from Bhogya Drishti, or the Bhogya Darshan, to Sevya Drishti, or the Darshan. Because at the moment when we look at the world, whatever we see, we think it's meant for my enjoyment. I see something beautiful, I immediately think, oh, this is meant for me. I want to enjoy it. That's our vision. But Guru helps us to understand, actually, whatever I see, it's meant for the service of Krishna. Let me engage it in the service of Krishna. So that's kind of transformation, the Guru. That's why Guru engages us in devotional service, and he teaches us how to serve Krishna. And that's why also Guru is worshipped as Shakshat Harit Venasamasta Sastre, as non-different from the Lord. Why? Because he is the Supreme representative, and that's why he's also considered to be like God. And Srila Prabhupada explained there is two kind of gods. There is the Sevya Bhagavan and there is Sevak Bhagavan. And both are Bhagavan. And when we look at Krishna Balaram, we see that also. What is the difference between Krishna and Balaram?
Yeah, so Krishna is the receiver of the service.
Uh-huh.
Balaram is the one who is giving service.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Usually we say Krishna Balaram, they are identically. One is black, one is white. One is holding flute, one is holding plow. Otherwise they are equal. But there is one difference. One is God, the Godhead that receives service and enjoys, and the other one is Godhead that gives service. And Balaram is very expert in giving service. He is super enthusiastic, doing all kind of service. That's why Balaram expands himself. The whole spiritual world is actually Balaram expansion. Then Balaram expands as a mridanga. On the altar, all the paraphernalia, it's all an expansion of Balaram. Krishna's flute is an expansion of Balaram. Ananta Shesha, Mahavishnu lies, Ananta Shesha, this bad, Balaram. So Balaram is extremely enthusiastic to serve, and that's why the Guru is considered to be an expansion of Balaram, an incarnation of Balaram, who is also enthusiastic to serve, and he teaches us, he engages us in service. And that's Guru, that's Sri Guru. And when we accept such a Guru and learn from such a Guru how to serve Krishna, then we develop this bhakti. And as described here, it's by bhakti that we actually are able to understand Krishna. And bhakti, the process of bhakti is glorified in all the scriptures because only by bhakti actually we can attain the highest goal. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Bhakti vinukona sadhana dite nare phala sabha phala deya bhakti svantantra prabhala. So it says here that the other processes like dhyana, karma, yoga, cannot yield results unless they are associated with devotional service. Devotional service, however, is so strong and independent that it can give one all the desired results. So bhakti is completely independent. Just by bhakti alone, one can attain everything. But the other processes, actually, on its own, they cannot give any fruit. Here it says phala. They cannot give any fruit. Only if someone is doing yoga, someone is doing karma or jnana, if he has a little bit bhakti, then that will have some result. But if there is no bhakti, there is no result. So the other processes need some bhakti, otherwise they are fruitless. But bhakti is independent. Then there's a very nice analogy given. Achagalastana nyaya anya sadhana atta eva haribhaja buddhimama jana. With the exception of devotional service, all the methods of self-realization are like nipples on the neck of a goat. An intelligent person adopts only devotional service, giving up all other processes of self-realization. Have you seen a goat? They have nipples here on the neck. And what is the meaning of this? Now, if you go there, you try to milk it, no milk is coming because it's not udders, it's just a nipple. So other processes than bhakti are compared to nipple of a goat on the neck. You can pull, but no milk is coming out. So you can practice yoga and jnana and karma. You can practice, but no milk is coming out. Nothing happens. But bhakti gives all results because bhakti is so powerful. So then why is bhakti so powerful? Why is it better? Of course, we could say, yeah, well, you're the bhakti yogis, Naturally, you say like that. Like every religion says we are the best and we are the only way. So now you're saying the same thing. You're saying bhakti is the best. So what is the proof of that? Well, Srila Prabhupada would often say the test of religion is how much love of God you have developed. That is the test. No, that's the test of religion. And Prabhupada was very actually liberal, very open-minded. If you have some name of God, you chant that name of God. You have a religion, no problem, you practice that religion. But you have to test religion. How much you develop love by practicing that process. And that's the beauty of bhakti, because it's really awakens our original love for Krishna. That's the whole idea of the bhakti process, to awaken that dormant love in the heart. And of course, this is also discussed in the 6th canto. Where Shukadev and Parikshit, they are discussing. You know, after the 5th canto, they heard the description of hellish planet and how people suffer. And when Parikshit hears, he becomes very compassionate. How is it that people have to suffer so much? How can they be delivered? And so then Shukadev Goswami actually is testing his disciple. You know, Parikshit is asking, so how can they get relief from all these sinful reactions? And then Shukadev says they have to do atonement. They have to do prayaschitta, Buße in Deutsch. No? They have to do some Buße. Prayaschitta is the proper method. But then what is Parikshit saying? This is like an elephant's bath. No? Elephant is dirty, he goes into the river, takes a bath, comes out, and the next thing he throws some dust again on his back. And Prabhupada says people go to the church, they ask for forgiveness, and the next day they again commit sinful activity. And why do they do that? Because the sinful desire is still there. And as long the desire for sinful activities in the heart, they will again and again act sinfully. So what is required is a process that uproots that sinful desire from the heart. And it says that jnana and karma and yoga, they're just like cutting. Like there is a weed, Unkraut, and they're just cutting, and what happens? It grows again. But bhakti is the process that uproots. And how? By giving us an understanding of our true identity as a servant of Krishna, and by engaging us in our original position as a servant of Krishna. And in that way, we understand, hey, I'm not this body, I'm actually a servant of Krishna. And then naturally, I want to serve Krishna. And then I give up my sinful desires and develop desire to only please Krishna. And by that, the sinful desires are uprooted. In this way, one actually attains perfection. That's why bhakti is so powerful. Because it's not an artificial thing, but actually it's our natural condition to be a servant of Krishna. And in this way, bhakti is glorified in many places. And in today's shloka, we heard from Shiva that, nobody can really understand Krishna, even those in Sattva Guna. But Prabhupada gives us hope in the purport because he says that those who practice bhakti, by bhakti, one can actually control, even the supreme control can be controlled by love. And this is the beauty of bhakti, that although Krishna is a supreme independent, he becomes bound by the love of his devotees. And therefore it's the supreme and best process. And we are very fortunate by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we came in touch with this wonderful bhakti process. So in this way, hopefully one day we will fully understand Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Is it Narayani was first? Yes. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, vielen Dank. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know where the question is, but I'm really interested to hear from you about your experience in this interreligiösen Austausch. Und I think it's, now you speak to us, we are all the same, we have the same religion, so called, yeah. But when you are together with so many other people who really think, like you said, this is I think this is the best, and so on. And maybe you can share some experience in this direction, or maybe you also share if you really met a man or woman where you have the feeling she has love of God. Or
Yes, I have experience like that. Yeah, thank you. Beautiful question. Yes, somehow I have been doing a lot of interfaith over the last years. And I mean, that's the beauty also of Sanatan Dharma, that we have a very, very a broad understanding of reality. And our Armin Risi, Atma Tattva in Switzerland, he has written a lot about this. He always emphasizes the theistic worldview, and he has established a system of Weltansicht, die Stufe der Weltansicht Treppe. He presents different philosophies, and then he shows actually that theistic view of life is the most complete, and the beauty is that it includes all the other. Like yesterday, we heard about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, right? And the beauty is that those with the Bhagavan realizations, it includes Paramatma and Brahman. You know? Like for someone who is at a theistic understanding, he acknowledges the yogi's realization of Paramatma, he acknowledges the Brahman realization of the Brahmavadis. No problem. Yes, it's part of it. God is energy, I agree. God is the super soul, I agree. But God is also the Supreme Lord. And that's the beauty of our Sanatana Dharma, that if you understand Krishna completely, then all the other views are included. You don't have to say, no, not yes, it's part, but it's not the complete picture. And of course, we have the analogy of the four blind men coming across an elephant, right? We know that story. And one touches the legs, and one the ear, and one the tail, and they have different experience of what the elephant actually is. Everyone is completely, but the elephant is like that. But someone who has the complete picture, he understands what the elephant actually is. So in the dialogue, I try to emphasize this point that Sanatana Dharma, it's not a sectarian concept that my religion is the best religion, but it's about understanding the truth, understanding the complete truth, which includes everything. And if you have a proper philosophical understanding, actually, all the other paths, they also have a place in there. That's one thing. And then I have actually met, because the beauty is that over the years, because sometimes you have quite superficial programs, like 3-4 people come together, they talk about their food rules and regulations. Yes, we have to kill animals in that way, we kill animals in the other way. And yeah, we eat fish, and we are vegetarians. That's kind of, there's not so much depth in that kind of discussion. But then I was lucky to every year, since a couple of years now, once a year I go to a monastery, and for 5 days I spend quality time with Christian monks, Buddhist monks, Sufi teachers, and then myself as a Hindu representative. So we spend time, we meditate together, we pray together, we have a lot of discussion on different issues, and that's much deeper. And there is one a monk, his name is Bruder David Steindl Rast, and he's actually quite famous. If you look up, you've on the internet, he has his own, a huge following, a globally following, and he's an Austrian, and he's now 99 years old. 99. Just this summer he became 99, and his main topic is gratitude. He has become known to be the gratitude guru. He talks about gratitude, and when you're in his presence, sadhu, his eyes are shining, and always a smile, and very deep understanding, very mature understanding, and very kind, full of love, compassion. I mean, if you see such a person, you understand he has, God is, he's connected. He is really. I mean, we spoke about the gunas. I mean, in my understanding, this person is beyond. He's really, he did it. He has love for God. So such people are existing, and I think it's very beautiful to meet such people also in other traditions. And of course, we understand we want to our goal is specifically Radha Madan Mohan, and for that we have to practice, our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition to actually reach. But people can also reach higher destinations. Vaikuntha is a huge place. There's space for many. Like that. Hare Krishna. Yes, I think you had a question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much
Hare Krishna.
for this nice words. For me, was this also the 14th chapter from Bhagavad Gita touched me very much, and how I can see also that outside, like you on the street, in the city, and later I found out, much years later, that this is okay, and I'm outside in the sattvic mood, outside with my food and handling and so on and so on. But deep in my heart, there was a lot of rajas.
Tamas still, yeah.
And tamas. And though this was not so complicated to become vegetarian, I was really 1 year before I started Krishna consciousness vegetarian. So, and also this outside things, it was not so complicated to handle. But then really do the deep insight in the heart things, and I understand by the mercy of the Lord that 1866, so surrender into me and give up all other stuff. The question is, in my heart is really so much that I don't not really what the type of work I have to do, and is it connected to the Lord that He showed me, or to the Gurudev that He showed me, or what, for what I have to work? I don't know, also wo ich dran zu arbeiten habe. Or is this on my understanding, was ich bearbeiten soll?
So your question is how to understand what is the inner work that I need to do to make progress in spiritual life, like understanding that yes, externally I maybe live a sattvic life, but internally I still feel there is rajas, there is tamas. So how do I know what is the next step in my internal work? Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's very important that we understand there is something like an inner work, because sometimes devotees think, like just chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, doing little service, and everything will be automatically fine. But that's not how it works. We need to do some inner work. Like introspection is very important. Bhakti is very powerful, and sometimes Prabhupada would also say, if you practice Bhakti Yoga, automatically all the good qualities will develop, but automatically does not mean unconscious. It means it's a conscious process. We are part of it. It's like while we purify our heart, we participating, and we do our own part in the inner work. So I think that's a very important thing. And but your question is how to know what is the next step. I would say, like Krishna is giving guidance from within and from without, right? From within, Krishna is Chaitya Guru, the Guru in the heart, and Krishna is very eager to help us from within, giving us guidance from within all the time. And then, because we are not able to listen to that voice always, then Guru or Krishna, Chaitya Guru also appears outside in the form as Shri Guru. Shri Guru is also understood as Shri Krishna Kripa Murti. The Guru is basically a mercy manifestation of Krishna outside. So Krishna gives instruction from inside and from outside through the Guru. So yeah, I would say we should try to receive instruction from both. Try to be introspective and listening to our heart, and see, okay, what do I understand, where I need to work on. And then also we can reveal our hearts to the spiritual master and ask the spiritual master for guidance. So in this way we get confirmation from outside also. So that's ideally, we actually we receive instructions from within, and then Guru outside is confirming it. And that's a safe path when it comes to inner work, I would say. In addition, I can say for me, journaling helps. I write a diary, like not exactly every day, but regularly. Maybe 2-3 times a week I write something down, and that's very helpful for me, just to reflect and see where I'm standing and processing things.
So I feel that my Gurudev has pushed me to look deep inside.
Yes.
But he don't talk with me over instructions, what I should do, what not. So this is really teaching to find it in my heart.
That's actually ultimately because, as I said, Guru is within, then Guru manifests outside, and the main reason why he has manifested outside to teach us how to listen inside. Because at one day, because Vapu is temporary. Like my Guru Maharaj left almost 20 years ago, 2006 he left. No, Vapu is temporary. I mean, you are all very lucky having a Guru, associating with Guru for 30, 40 years. That's like amazing. Having association of the spiritual master for so many years. This is a great, great blessing. I had a physical association with my Guru for 4 years. And you have 40 years. So that's a great blessing. But what I want to say is that Vapu is temporary. It's very, it's temporary. Vani is eternal. And that's why the Guru, what he actually tries to do, he prepares us to hear the Krishna from inside. And like a mature, like the idea is that the disciple becomes mature enough to understand himself. Because in the beginning, we are very much dependent on the Guru. Oh, Gurudev, what should I do? Gurudev, what should I do? And we ask every step, and Guru has to tell us, like a small child. But at some point, we become more grown up. And then Guru expects us that we actually understand ourselves. That's why maybe Guru is not giving so much instruction anymore, because he knows. You should know yourself by now, And then when Guru leaves his body, we already have learned to listen inside. Because that's what I realized when Guru is gone, the only way you meet Guru is inside. Because Paramatma actually, you can get instruction from inside through prayers. But then you're forced to listen to that voice. As long as Guru is physically present, you can always ask. But if he's gone, then you can only take shelter inside.
It's a nice story in my life. Before 2 years, my Guru told me how much age I become. And I was so quick. And then he said, think not that I'm going before you.
Okay, that's nice.
That is also to see in two ways,
Yeah.
outside
and
then
the inside
meaning of that.
Yeah, nice. That's why I'm saying you're fortunate to have so much association. You had a question, then we will end. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I've heard this where you can practice
Yeah, very interesting point. Yeah. Yes.
I was wondering if you could illuminate more on this.
Yeah. That's nice. Maybe let's see. Maybe we can even tomorrow speak a bit more on that. That's described by Kapila Shiksha in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think it's 26th chapter, maybe 25th, 26th chapter. And there is detailed description. Because we have to understand, bhakti is always transcendental, like bhakti in itself. What is bhakti? Bhakti is actually Swarup Shakti. It's an energy of Krishna. It's fully transcendental. It's never contaminated by the gunas, bhakti itself. But what Kapila describes is the sadhaka, the practitioner of bhakti, who is still influenced. While he tries to become free from the modes, he's still influenced by the gunas, and he practiced bhakti in different gunas. So you have, and an example is like, you have a devotee who is in, let's take listening. Listening in sattva guna, like listening, Shravanam is a process of devotional service. There is 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So Shravanam, hearing Krishna Katha is an anga of devotional service. So that process you're all performing right now, Shravanam, listening Bhagavatam. So that can be performed in Tamaguna, in Rajaguna, and in Sattvaguna. Like Sattvaguna means someone is listening very attentively, sitting straight, very attentive, taking notes like you did. Very sattvic listener, and also in a humble mood. I don't know. I like to listen. I like to receive knowledge, proper attitude, and open. So that's Sattvaguna listening. But then Rajaguna, it's like hardly can sit. Like when his time is over, when it's already 4 minutes over time. Now it's time for breakfast. Like there's so many desires in the heart that the person hardly can actually listen. And then Tamaguna is those who are falling asleep all the time and really have to struggle, fight to keep the eyes open. But then that's listening in Tamaguna. Or speaking, speaking in Tamaguna would be, like saying things like, like, I don't know, criticizing, speaking bad about women, or criticizing this or that, or speaking in Rajaguna would be, I'm the best speaker, and can you see how many shlokas I know by heart? Like having the desire to be recognized. And speaking in Sattvaguna means I'm just trying to do a service and repeat the words. So in this way, every activity in devotion, it can also be influenced by the gunas. And Kapila explains this very nicely. Like that. All right, then we will end here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande,
Premarupa Prabhu ki jai.
Golokadam, Vasis Ki Jai, Vancha Kalpataru Vischa, Kripa Sindhu Eva Cha Patitana, Nibyo Vishnu.